Welcome to Company Showcase, an advertising feature on HowStreet.com.
I'm Jim Goddard. I'm speaking with Larry Reaugh, CEO and President of American Manganese. Welcome back to the show, Larry.
Well, Jim, it's always great to be on the show.
Larry, was it a week of a lot of positive news for American Manganese?
Well, we did have a very positive press release on Wednesday, but we had a very active week since last Friday. Actually, it started, we had just close to 1 million share day that day. But so far this week, we've traded over 12 million shares, and we hit a high of 30.5. We're currently trading at 27. And, we had a bit of a pullback to 23.5, 23, 24, and, which is always healthy on a run-up because we started at 15. And, as all I can say is that the stock is reacting very well. And, people always wonder what's the catalyst for that. Well, certainly we had good results, but that's not the first time. We've had good results for 2.5 years. And you just weren't getting any positive reactions from it. This result, we had a very positive reaction. We had a lot of things that were happening in the background. But the stock, like I say, traded over 12 million shares so far. And it probably will trade about 12.5 million today. At the end of this day, it'll be 12.5 million anyway. But the real catalyst for this whole thing is that there's a different perspective out there, and that perspective has to do with recycling lithium-ion batteries in its entirety. Before it was it can't be done, there's no money in it, and the stories went on and on and on out there, and but now the stories are there is money in it. It can be done, and, and we're getting a lot of the headlines on that sort of stuff. So this is what we needed. This is what we needed in the market. When you stop and think about what's happening in the battery industry, there's hundreds of billions of dollars being spent on battery manufacturing. In regards to recycling, you'd be lucky if you hit 100 million. And so that's how puny that investment is at this time, and that's only going to get greater and greater and greater. So as we move through the chute, the holders of American Manganese should see some steady appreciations over the next several months. And, we're getting closer to the end game. We're going to be testing the material from the DOE labs, critical materials, and but we can't do that until we complete stage 5, and so that's the next big thing. All the fabrications and parts are in to do that, so I don't expect that to start till maybe next week sometime. But we're moving ahead. We took the lull in the market to our advantage because we were very quick to move on patents and and all the resulting work that had to be done that makes a patent feasible and allows you to actually obtain that patent. It has to work scientifically, and we have to do the work to back that work up when we file for the patent. So we've got 2 patents, and we'll have a 3rd patent. And, all we can do is look forward to better days ahead. I mean, everything we've done so far has been positive, but now we're starting to get recognition. And things in the background that happened, we had that newsletter that went out 6 weeks ago. It hit 82,000 openings last week. I can tell you that there's results directly from that because my LinkedIn is growing at 200 to 300 a week. And, so those are things that bring new eyeballs and potentially new buyers into the market. So, and we've even had the movie star on the project last week, and he was very excited about it. So, I don't know what's happening there. He's certainly, I don't know if he's even taken a position for himself, but regardless, we're getting a lot of fanfare out there. Now, I did have a question that was put in by the CEO Bullboards, and that was to explain our cycles that we go through, like the cathode scrap. And I can tell you that from start to finish, it's about an 8-hour process. And but if you're doing it on a continuous basis, it is just that the material you put in at the beginning of the process starts to come out in about 8 hours. But if you're feeding the material in on a continuous basis, that's how we have a continuous result at the back end of the plant. So the prep time is 8 hours, charging the system and everything else that you're doing. And then once you start, if you're in a commercial plant, you start to process the powders at the end of the circuit. You're starting with the stuff that was put in 8 hours ago. But that's now becomes continuous because you keep charging that. Then pretty soon you're through the 8 hours, and now you're processing other material. But it's just a continuous basis that keeps that ticking along. And the other question was that the Department of Energy would be building some batteries. I imagine they would build prototypes, and they'll run several cycle tests on it. It's not to see if the material holds up. It's that the process holds up. And because we produce a battery-ready material, and that material is not degraded. I mean, it's base metals. There's no loss or fatigue of that particular product. And, that if it's battery ready and it doesn't need chemical treatment like anybody that's selling material from a storage area, it's been chemically treated, and they may pre-mix it, or they may send it out individually, and then the battery manufacturers mix the material, and they go through gluing it onto a aluminum foil, and then they heat treat that, and that's a product that they make batteries out of. So really what we're not building batteries, we're producing cathode material to sell back to the battery manufacturer. And that's the key to that whole thing. It's it was an interesting question that was posed, and I hope that people realize that it's no different than say a copper operation or a gold operation, where you've got to run the product, and the product that you're getting out the end didn't come in at the same time. It has to go through a circuit system, and it probably takes a charging time of several hours before it really starts to produce at the end of it in any consistent manner. So it's no different for us. We're only treating base metals, or cathode metals, and the end result is that we have a high-grade product that will be used out in the industry, and they won't have to dig it out of the ground. They can go right to work on the powder that we produce. So we've had an exciting time. Certainly a good way to end the week. We're basically sitting at around 600,000 shares today, which is considerably down from the amounts that we were doing earlier. But I'm really encouraged with the market, and I'm really encouraged with what I'm seeing out there and the response we're getting from. We have to have, I think I've mentioned this so many times and getting blue in the face, but we have a lot of conference calls, and some go nowhere, some go further, and eventually we could end up in an NDA and then have people testing our material. So we're looking forward to a good close on the summer, and I'm hoping that we'll have a partner before the end of the year.
Larry, for people who are new to American Manganese, what's the company all about?
American Manganese is a critical metals company that started its career in the criticality of metals by developing a process for very low grades of manganese in Arizona. And we were successful and actually filed patents on that, and we looked at the patents, and Cametco recognized that the patented process that we use should work on the cathode materials in a lithium-ion battery. Since then, we've done from proof of concept right up to the pilot plant and filing of patents and actually the receiving of patents, and in a very fast time, I might say, for any new listeners. But that's because we had no conflicting technologies out there, so that's really excellent for protecting our patent. And everything can be found on our website at AmericanManganeseInc.com. You can phone the office 778-574-4444, or you can email me at LREAUGH@AMYMN.com. Or you can go to the website, AmericanManganeseInc.com.
Larry, thank you for the update.
You're welcome.
I've been speaking with Larry Reaugh, CEO and President of American Manganese. I'm Jim Goddard. Our conversation took place on July 26th.
Comments made on Company Showcase are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any manner whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Archived online at HowStreet.com. Company Showcase is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.